stars draped up over campus, a sun with a sagacious face representing knowledge. But this sun, the one over Providence, was doing the metaphorical sun one better, because the founders of the university, in their Baptist pessimism, had chosen to depict the light of knowledge enshrouded by clouds, indicating that ignorance had not yet been dispelled from the human realm, whereas the actual sun was just now fighting its way through cloud cover, sending down splintered beams of light and giving hope to the squadrons of parents who'd been soaked and frozen all weekend, that the unseasonable weather might not ruin the day's festivities. All over College Hill, in the geometric gardens of the Georgian mansions, the magnolia-scented front yards of Victorians, along brick sidewalks running past black iron fences like those in a Charles Addams cartoon or a Lovecraft story, outside the art studios at the Rhode Island School of Design, where one painting major, having stayed up all night to work, was blaring Patti Smith, shining off the instruments, tuba and trumpet respectively, of the two members of the Brown Marching Band, who had arrived early at the meeting point and were nervously looking around, wondering where everyone else was, brightening the cobblestone side streets that led downhill to the polluted river. The sun was shining on every brass doorknob, insect wing, and blade of grass. And, in concert with the suddenly flooding light, like a starting gun for all the activity, the doorbell in Madeleine's fourth-floor apartment began, clamorously, insistently, to ring. The pulse reached her less as a sound than as a sensation, an electric shock shooting up her spine. In one motion, Madeleine tore the pillow off her head and sat up in bed. She knew who was ringing the buzzer. It was her parents. She'd agreed to meet Alton and Phillida for breakfast at 7:30. She'd made this plan with them 2 months ago, in April, and now here they were, at the appointed time, in their eager, dependable way. That Alton and Phillida had driven up from New Jersey to see her graduate, that what they were here to celebrate today wasn't only her achievement, but their own as parents, had nothing wrong or unexpected about it. The problem was that Madeleine, for the first time in her life, wanted no part of it. She wasn't proud of herself. She was in no mood to celebrate. She'd lost faith in the significance of the day, and what the day represented. She considered not answering, but she knew that if she didn't answer, one of her roommates would, and then she'd have to explain where she'd disappeared to last night, and with whom. Therefore, Madeleine slid out of the bed and reluctantly stood up. This seemed to go well for a moment, standing up. Her head felt curiously light, as if hollowed out. But then the blood, draining from her skull like sand from an hourglass, hit a bottleneck, and the back of her head exploded in pain. In the midst of this barrage, like the furious core from which it emanated, the buzzer erupted again. She came out of her bedroom and stumbled in bare feet to the intercom in the hall, slapping the speak button to silence the buzzer. "Hello?" "What's the matter? Didn't you hear the bell?" It was Alton's voice, as deep and commanding as ever, despite the fact that it was issuing from a tiny speaker. "Sorry," Madeleine said. "I was in the shower." "Likely story. Will you let us in, please?" Madeleine didn't want to. She needed to wash up first. "I'm coming down," she said. This time she held the speak button too long, cutting off Alton's response. She pressed it again and said, "Daddy?" But while she was speaking, Alton must have been speaking too, because when she pressed listen, all that came through was static. Madeleine took this pause in communications to lean her forehead against the doorframe. The wood felt nice and cool. The thought struck her that if she could keep her face pressed against the soothing wood, she might be able to cure her headache, and if she could keep her forehead pressed against the doorframe for the rest of the day, while somehow still being able to leave the apartment, she might make it through breakfast with her parents, march in the commencement procession, get a diploma, and graduate. She lifted her face and pressed speak again. "Daddy?" But it was Phillida's voice that answered. "Maddie? What's the matter? Let us in." "My roommates are still asleep. I'm coming down. Don't ring the bell anymore." "We want to see your apartment." "Not now. I'm coming down."